It was one of Arizona's most notorious murders.
It was fatal attraction in real life.
There's religion, there's sex. They found him naked, bloodied.
And her trial would captivate the nation.
It turns into a TV event.
It became a real-life soap opera.
You just can't stop watching.
And now, in a special 2-episode event, Snap takes you inside the story of Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander. Their passionate beginning.
I think about having sex with you every day.
Travis's bloody end.
27 stab wounds, a slit throat, and a gunshot to the head.
The relentless investigation.
There's so much evidence in that house. So much. And it all points to you.
And the gripping trial that would all hinge on one familiar question.
Couldn't it also be that after everything they went through in that relationship, that after that, she simply snapped?
Mesa, Arizona, June 9th, 2008. It was around 10:30 that Monday night when Mimi Hall and several friends dropped by Travis Alexander's 4,000 square foot suburban home, searching for the successful sales representative with prepaid legal services. Days earlier, Travis had invited Mimi along for one of the perks of his success, a free trip to Mexico.
Prepaid Legal was taking their top executives to Cancun for a vacation, and Travis was on the list.
But as their departure date approached, Travis had mysteriously disappeared.
She hadn't heard from him and was getting worried because their trip was in a few hours.
He's not answering his phone. He missed a couple of very crucial appointments.
The night before we were to fly to Cancun, his voicemail box was completely full, and I knew something was wrong at that point.
Mimi thought so too. So that night, only hours before their flight, she had gathered up several of Travis's mutual friends and gone to check on the 30-year-old.
She felt she had to go to his house and find out what's going on.
At the house, Mimi and her friends found one of Travis's roommates.
Travis's roommate says he's in Cancun. He's been gone on vacation. She says, no, he's not. He's supposed to leave with me tomorrow.
Worried, Mimi asked if they could check Travis's room.
They're immediately struck by this odd scent, this rancid smell.
When they opened the door to Travis's bedroom, the stench became overpowering.
They see blood on the floor, sheets off the bed, and one light shining from the direction of the bathroom.
And inside the attached bath, the friends found the horrifying source of the odor, Travis.
They found him naked, bloodied, crumpled up in the shower.
Moments later, Travis's friends dialed 911.
What's going on?
A friend of ours is dead in his bedroom.
How did this happen? Do you have any idea?
No, we have no idea. Everyone's been wondering about him for a few days.
But while Travis's friends couldn't say how he died or how long he'd been dead, they did have something to give the authorities. A name.
Has he been threatened by anyone recently?
Yes, he has. Okay. He has an ex-girlfriend that's been bothering him, and her name is Jodi.
Born in 1980. By all accounts, Jodi Arias had an idyllic childhood in Salinas, California.
You know, playing in their cul-de-sac, riding bikes, climbing trees.
She loved to draw and paint. She was always very good at art. And, you know, as a kid, she showed a lot of promise in that regard.
She was always infatuated with photography. From a young age, she would pick up a camera and shoot photos of everything around her.
She was less interested in school, however. And by age 17, she had dropped out and was on her own.
Jodi's relationship with her parents was always very fragmented. Jodi was always very distant with her family, and especially her mom.
She was a little bit of a rebel as a teenager, as many teens are. But she really took it to a higher degree than most teens.
She dropped out of high school, actually, and moved in with her boyfriend at the time.
Jodi spent the next several years drifting across Southern California, bouncing from boyfriend to boyfriend and job to job.
took some community college classes, tried to get into photography, did some wedding shoots here and there, but her photography business never really took off.
Instead, it was mostly restaurant work that paid the bills.
She was a professional waitress, had worked at least 10 different waitress jobs.
And by 2006, it looked as if the 26-year-old waitress was running out of options.
She had no money. She couldn't keep a job.
But then a friend told her about a company called Prepaid Legal Services.
Prepaid Legal is a service that provides you for a monthly fee affordable legal representation.
More important for Jodi, they were always hiring salespeople.
It's sort of a multi-layer marketing business, much like Amway.
Jodi quickly signed on.
She was never one of the top performers.
She was just making an extra few $100 a month.
But while Jodi wasn't making much money, she was making connections. In September of 2006, at a sales conference in Las Vegas, Jodi even hooked up with a real climber in the company, a hotshot salesman named Travis Alexander. Also a California native, Travis's early years had been horrific.
His parents were drug addicts, addicted to methamphetamines.
Would go on methamphetamine binges for days at a time, come home and crash for days more.
He wasn't fed. Lice and roaches all over, and it was just a terrible life for a little boy.
But when he was 10, his grandparents took Travis and his siblings in, and his life took a complete 180.
His grandmother brought him into the Mormon faith and really became a huge influence in his life. So Travis, as he grows up, really starts to overcome these odds that he was faced with as a child.
By the time he met Jodi Arias in 2006, Travis had become a leader in the church.
Travis Alexander was very involved in the Mormon church, led ward meetings.
He had accomplished so much, and he was a great example to us in so many ways.
He was a very, very unique and powerful personality.
But mostly, Travis used his powerful personality to become one of Prepaid Legal's most successful salespeople ever.
He had a beautiful 4,000 square foot home, BMW, and a lifestyle of a rock star.
The company was grooming him for even bigger things, too.
He was a motivational speaker within the company, really going to seminars and conferences and teaching people how to become better salespeople, to be better people. He was a very inspirational figure.
He was the guy that brightened the room when he walked in, and he was the guy that was just the life of the party. Everybody knew Travis's reputation.
In fact, Travis's growing status with the company was how he met Jodi at Prepaid Legal's annual sales conference in Vegas. It was the day before one of the main events of the conference, a lavish dinner for executive directors. And Travis had a problem.
Travis did not have a date.
And while he was trying to line someone up, a coworker came up with a solution, an attractive new hire from California.
He called her and asked her to be his date.
Jodi readily accepted.
She knew he was someone that was influential.
And that night, outside a hotel banquet hall, the couple met for the first time.
I was standing with Travis in line to get into the event when she came walking through the crowd, and, he was quite thrilled with her.
Jodi seemed pretty thrilled with Travis, too.
That first night that they met, they hung out till about 4 o'clock in the morning.
The relationship didn't stay in Vegas, however. Once they parted after the conference, the couple remained in almost constant contact.
Travis lived in Mesa, Arizona, and Jodi was in Palm Desert. And they would meet on the weekend and then communicate during the week over the phone, text, emails.
And despite the distance between them, Jodi's feelings for Travis intensified with every text, every email, and every long-awaited weekend they spent together.
Jodi is just really fascinated by this young man, this attractive, successful, accomplished entrepreneur.
As for Travis, the thrill he felt when Jodi first walked up to him outside the banquet hall showed signs of growing into something more.
Travis finally found someone that he's really into.
She was attractive, articulate, well-spoken, and Travis seemed to really like her.
But while a daily dose of texts and phone calls allowed them to carry on an intense long-distance relationship, miles weren't the only thing dividing the couple. There was also Travis's Mormon faith.
Travis made it very clear to her early on that he did not want a serious relationship with anyone who was not LDS.
So on November 26, 2006, only 2 months after meeting Travis, Jodi was baptized into the Mormon Church.
We asked Travis, is she doing this for you? Is she sincere about this? And he goes, oh, no, this is what she wants.
Travis apparently wanted it too. Not only was he happy that Jodi converted, he assisted with the ceremony.
He was standing in a font at the front of the church and dipped her into the water, completed the ceremony, and she became a member of the Mormon Church.
And by February of 2007, the pair was officially a couple. Jodi was still based in California, but she regularly made the long drive to Arizona in order to spend time with Travis.
They traveled extensively. We see lots and lots of pictures of them in all sorts of places.
They were a beautiful couple. Fun, energetic.
And if what Travis told his friends was any indication, Jodi was especially energetic in the bedroom.
Travis Alexander would tell friends that he believed she was actually a nymphomaniac, that she couldn't get enough.
Jodi's philosophy on how you attract a man closer to you is you give him more sexually.
However, despite their hot and heavy romance, there were signs that the newly baptized Jodi was far more serious about their relationship than Travis.
She was looking for a husband.
To her, Travis was it.
She told lots of friends that she wanted to have babies with Travis.
Travis, on the other hand, told his friends something very different.
Travis was enamored with her looks, but it was more lust, not love.
He enjoyed their relationship, but he wasn't serious about her long term.
He wasn't ready to commit.
At least not to Jodi.
He was looking for a woman that says no, not until marriage.
He wanted someone that was chaste and pure and was an ideal Mormon, and Jodi was never going to be that.
And by the end of June, after only 5 months of dating, Jodi's brief romance with Travis had come to an end.
She wanted to be the one, and he obviously didn't see her as the one.
The break wouldn't be a clean one, however. And that was why, when they found Travis dead, his friends immediately thought of Jodi. Coming up, Travis's friends have a disturbing tale for the police.
His tires were slashed. He was being followed.
And according to his friends, the stalker was Jodi.
Once found her hiding behind his Christmas tree.
On June 9th, 2008, friends of Travis Alexander found the successful young businessman and motivational speaker dead in his Mesa, Arizona home.
They find his bloated, decomposed body in the shower and immediately call police.
His roommate just went in there and said there's lots of blood.
That was no exaggeration, based on what the police found when they arrived on the scene moments later.
The detectives see blood spatter on the floors, the walls, the mirrors, the sink. They see blood drops as far as 6 feet up on the slats of the blinds.
That scene was one of the most horrific, gory, bloody crime scenes that one could imagine.
Travis's injuries were just as horrific.
He was stabbed several times from behind. His throat had been slit from ear to ear.
Defensive wounds, slash marks on his hands, really deep cuts into the tender skin of his palms.
He had also been shot in the head. On the bathroom floor near the body, the investigators found a single .25 caliber shell casing
that was sitting on top of blood. So that led them to believe that that was the very last injury that he suffered.
But while Travis's body, his bedroom, and the bathroom all bore the marks of a bloody and violent struggle, there were no signs of forced entry or a robbery.
There's a ring, wallet belonging to Travis Alexander out in plain view, not stolen. Nothing appears out of place downstairs. The house is not ransacked. Nothing valuable appears to be stolen.
In fact, the rest of the house was so untouched that his roommates had been coming and going for days, completely unaware of the bloody horror behind Travis's bedroom door.
Travis's roommates thought he was already on this trip to Mexico.
That means his body was sitting there for 4 or 5 days.
They had noticed that there was something smelling a little funny, but weren't there at the home that much. Then it was a bachelor pad, and for all we know, I mean, he just left some dishes or something like that.
No sign of a robbery, a killer who came and went unseen, and the sheer ferocity of the attack. For the investigators, it all pointed to one thing.
This was a crime of passion, and police knew that from the get-go.
In fact, that wasn't all they knew. From the moment they called 911, Travis's friends figured they knew who the killer might be.
There's a girl that's been stalking him.
And according to Travis's friends, the stalker was his ex-girlfriend, Jodi Arias. According to what his friends told the investigators, Jodi had always been clingy, even when the couple was dating.
She would snoop through his phone. She would look in his email. She was jealous of any girls that he spoke with.
Travis's friends claimed that at first, he had found Jodi's jealousy amusing.
He thought it was cute, like it was kind of a compliment. You know, this girl's really into me.
But they also said that he had quickly tired of Jodi's jealousy.
Travis was very unhappy with her and felt smothered by her, like she was too nosy into his business.
And they said that last June, when he finally broke things off with Jodi after nearly 5 months of dating, Travis had initially been relieved.
After being a single guy for so many years, he kind of liked his space.
But if Travis figured he would get his space back after the breakup, his friends said he was sadly mistaken.
They break up. What does she do? She moves to Mesa, Arizona.
In fact, Jodi did more than just move to the town where Travis lived.
On top of that, she moved to a place within 5 or 10 minutes of his house.
According to his friends, Travis had tried to be civil at first.
Even as ex-boyfriend and ex-girlfriend, they were still hanging out with each other a lot.
But he had also started dating other people.
I kept looking for that perfect Mormon woman he could marry.
And according to his friends, that's where things started to get strange.
He was being followed on his dates by Jodi.
She would just show up, like, to check on him, acting as if it's a friendly visit when other girls were there visiting him.
Travis had also told his friends that he would come home or even wake up to find Jodi inside his house.
He'd find her sleeping on his couch. Once found her hiding behind his Christmas tree when he came downstairs in the morning.
She would find ways to let herself into his house by either crawling through the doggy door, or she knew that Travis never locked the glass sliding door.
And when Travis started regularly dating another woman, his friends claimed that things had turned scary.
His tires were slashed 2 nights in a row while he was over at his girlfriend's house. When his girlfriend was at his house, her tires were slashed.
According to his friends, Travis didn't know for sure that Jodi had slashed his tires, but he definitely suspected it.
He told friends, if anything ever happens to me, Jodi did it.
He never reported the incidents, though. And in April of 2008, not long after Travis had broken up with his latest girlfriend, Jodi did something else unexpected. She had moved home to California.
The best thing that ever happened to him was her moving back to Northern California.
At least that's what Travis had thought.
He was looking forward to getting his life back on track.
But now, less than a month later, Travis was dead, and his friends were pretty sure that Jodi was responsible.
Because of her stalking behavior, because of the fact that she appeared to be infatuated with Travis, the friends believed from the get-go that this was the work of Jodi Arias.
The investigators would need more than a friend's hunch, however. They needed evidence, and the bloody crime scene yielded several important clues that could help identify the killer.
There was not a concerted effort to clean up this crime scene in any sort of meaningful way.
First off, inside the bathroom.
They find a long hair that clearly did not come from Travis.
Whether it came from the killer or not, the investigators didn't know. But outside the door dividing the bathroom from the bedroom, the investigators found something that most likely did. It was a palm print smeared into the blood on the wall, and it didn't belong to Travis.
Any killer who knows what they're doing gets rid of that print immediately.
At the scene, the investigators photographed the print and took samples of the blood for DNA purposes. And then, downstairs in the laundry room, they made another intriguing discovery. Stuffed in the washing machine with a load of towels and underwear was a digital camera.
The digital camera had been run through the washing machine, had been severely water damaged, but the memory card inside was intact.
Hoping the images on the camera's memory card weren't damaged, the investigators sent it, the hair and blood samples, as well as the images of the palm print, off to the crime lab for analysis.
There was a lot of blood evidence, and then on top of that, the camera.
Whether that evidence would lead to Jodi, the investigators had no way of knowing. But when they got back to the station later that day, they discovered that Jodi had been trying to get in touch with them.
Jodi starts reaching out to the lead detective on the case, calling him within 24 hours of the body being found, leaving him messages saying, "Hey, I just want to talk about Travis."
The detective immediately called Jodi back.
Hello, can you speak to Jodi, please?
This is Jodi.
And when the detective identified himself and asked what he could do for Jodi, she didn't hesitate to talk. In fact, the woman Travis's friends were convinced was his killer didn't act like a suspect at all.
I just wanted to offer any assistance that I might have. I was a really good friend of Travis's.
Coming up, Jodi puts a very different spin on her relationship with Travis.
We were intimate, but I wouldn't say romantic.
And the crime lab finds chilling evidence of Travis's last moments.
What he found blew their mind.
By the evening of June 10th, friends and coworkers of Travis Alexander were struggling to accept that the successful 30-year-old sales rep and motivational speaker was really dead.
His business was doing well. He was going to Cancun. Everything was going right.
However, as the news of Travis's murder spread, there was one detail that his close friends didn't have trouble believing. The speculation that his ex-girlfriend Jodi Arias was somehow involved.
I had no question. It wasn't like, I wonder if Jodi did this. It wasn't like, I think Jodi did this. I knew that Jodi Arias had killed my friend.
Travis had told all of his friends, "Gosh, I got this stalker ex-girlfriend. She won't leave me alone. She's crazy. She's obsessive."
But if Jodi had killed Travis, she certainly wasn't acting like it.
She called the Mesa Police Department and volunteered to help them in any way when it came to solving this murder.
I heard that he passed away and that his roommate found him or his friend found him or people were. I'm sorry. I'm upset.
And despite his friend's suspicions, Jodi told the investigator that she hadn't seen Travis since moving back to California months ago.
She said she hadn't seen him since April. She hadn't been in Mesa at all.
You haven't been back in town since then?
No, I haven't at all.
Although according to Jodi, Travis had been planning to visit her.
He's supposed to make a trip up here at the end of the month because there's a book called 1,000 Places to See Before You Die. We sort of got into that last year where we were starting to see all these different places on the list.
Was it possible? Had Travis and his so-called stalker planned to take a trip together? During the call, the investigator came right out and told Jodi that Travis's friends suspected she had something to do with his death.
People, some of his closest friends, began mentioning your name as, hey, you need to call her because she probably knows what happened to him or she possibly had something to do with it.
Oh gosh, no,
I needed to talk to you to find out why they would say something like that. Why they
I don't know, maybe we can find the ex-girlfriend.
And when she went on to describe her relationship with Travis, she gave the investigator a very different account of their breakup. According to Jodi, she was the one who had ended it.
Jodi claims that she broke up with Travis because she caught him cheating on her.
I had the suspicion that he was cheating on me, and so I looked in his phone to find out, and I found all these text messages.
However, Jodi also said that the breakup wasn't exactly the end of their relationship.
We decided to remain friends, but, I kind of feel embarrassed talking about this.
The relationship becomes more of a friends with benefits type situation.
We were intimate, but I wouldn't say romantic.
Intimate, does that include like a sexual relationship with him?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. I know it's kind of embarrassing to talk about stuff
I know, and if you could just keep it confidential for now.
Part of the reason, according to Jodi, was Travis's Mormon faith.
The Mormon religion states that premarital sex is not acceptable.
Just really looked down upon in the church.
Jodi claimed that was why Travis had intentionally kept their post-breakup hookups over the past year a secret.
Travis had certain ideals, but he did not live up to many of those.
According to Jodi, the fact that Travis had kept their continued hookups hidden may have explained why his friends suspected her.
We just both realized that neither of us could be in an adult relationship, and then we continued to see each other a long time after that.
Well, I'm glad I did get a hold of you. You did call me because it kind of clears up a lot of the questions I had, a lot of the concerns.
But that didn't mean the investigators were ready to rule her out as a suspect. To do that, they would need her fingerprints and a DNA sample. And when the investigators asked for them, Jodi readily agreed. On June 17th, she drove to Mesa and met with the investigators.
Jodi seemed very cooperative, saying that she would do anything to help catch the killer.
And within hours of Jodi submitting her fingerprints and DNA sample, she would make good on her promise. Jodi would help the investigators catch Travis's killer. When the crime lab began processing the camera that investigators found in Travis Alexander's dryer, it looked as if the find was a dead end.
The photos that were on it were innocuous. There were Travis and, friends.
But the innocuous photos weren't the only ones on the camera's memory card. It also contained the data from a series of deleted images.
Forensic technicians were able to retrieve the deleted photos from the memory card.
And what he found blew their minds.
The deleted photos not only confirmed Jodi's story that she and Travis had continued to sleep together after their breakup, they documented what must have been their final hookup, a mere 5 days before Travis was found dead.
There are photographs, timestamp photographs of Jodi naked on Travis's bed.
There were naked pictures of Travis, too.
The naked photos look as though they've had sex, and they're taking pictures of each other.
Some of them are very explicit.
And they proved that contrary to what she had told the investigators, Jodi had been back to Mesa since moving to California, and that she had seen Travis shortly before his death.
The police now have proof positive that Jodi Arias lied.
But was that all she had lied about? The post-coital pictures weren't the only ones the investigators recovered from the camera. There was another series of photographs, timestamped nearly 3.5 hours after the bedroom shots. They were photos of Travis, naked and in the shower.
Pictures of Travis taking a shower, back shots, side shots.
And in the final shot of the series,
the very chilling photograph of Travis Alexander looking directly into the camera lens.
That wasn't the last picture on the camera, though it was the last one taken before Travis was murdered. There were 3 more photos on the camera.
They were apparently taken accidentally.
And the 3 blurry and out-of-focus snapshots apparently captured the murder as it occurred.
You see the shoulder of Travis and his head, and you see drops of blood.
Another photograph of Travis Alexander dead at the bottom of the shower.
It was an incredible break for the investigators.
This is something that you never find. Actual photographic evidence of what's going on.
That camera clearly was the smoking gun.
But could the authorities put that smoking gun in Jodi's hand? The fact that the same camera had photographed her in Travis's bedroom a few hours before he was killed wasn't enough. Before they made an arrest, the Mesa police wanted to be sure that the case against her was rock solid.
It took a few weeks for the DNA and the fingerprints to process.
And on June 26th, the investigators had the confirmation they wanted. Not only did they match Jodi to the bloody palm print on the wall outside the bathroom door, they matched her DNA, too.
It turned out to be a mixture of Travis and Jodi's blood.
She's cut herself. Her blood is at the scene.
The long hair that the investigators found at the crime scene turned out to be Jodi's as well.
She left behind so much evidence of her involvement in this killing.
This case was extremely strong.
On July 9th, 2008, the Maricopa County Grand Jury indicted Jodi for the murder of Travis Alexander. 6 days later, on July 15th, the investigators flew to Northern California and placed Jodi under arrest.
She was arrested at her grandmother's house.
Jodi was as cooperative as ever. Although as the investigators put Jodi in handcuffs, it wasn't entirely clear whether the 28-year-old understood just how much trouble she was in.
As detectives go to arrest Jodi, she asks, "Is there any way I can get my makeup on?"
Coming up, Jodi denies killing Travis.
I did not hurt Travis. I wouldn't do that to him.
But she claims to know who did.
I was really scared.
On July 15th, 2008, a little more than a month after friends found her ex-boyfriend Travis Alexander's decomposing body in the bathroom of his Mesa, Arizona home, 28-year-old Jodi Arias was arrested for his murder.
They know Jodi was there. They got her bloody palm print at the house. They've got hair. They've got DNA. They got the pictures.
The investigators who handled the case said they have never seen more evidence. It was just so damning and so overwhelming that she did it.
But that evening in California, when the investigators from Arizona led Jodi into an interrogation room at the local sheriff's office, she didn't seem too worried.
After she was arrested, Jodi seemed very nonchalant.
Any chance we could get my purse?
She's asking the detectives if she can fix her hair and pretty herself up before she gets her booking mugshot done.
But considering all the evidence they had, the investigators weren't about to buy her innocent act.
Were you at Travis's house on Wednesday?
Absolutely not. I was nowhere near Mesa. I was nowhere near Phoenix.
What if I could show you proof you were there? Will that change your mind?
I wasn't there.
Be honest with me, Jodi.
They put down photos, and they show photos and say, okay, you didn't kill him. What about these photos?
You were at Travis's house. You guys had a sexual encounter.
But Jodi didn't so much as blink, even when confronted by the fact that the police had photos putting her at the crime scene.
Are you sure it's me? I mean, that because I was
Jodi,
not there.
It's you. And you know it's you.
And as far as the investigators were concerned, only one question remained.
I want to know why. Why did you do this to him?
I wouldn't hurt Travis. He's done so much for me.
There's so much evidence in that house. So much, and it all points to you.
Jodi still refused to budge, claiming that it all had to be some sort of mistake.
She said, "You're going to find my palm prints, my fingerprints, my hair. You're going to find them there."
I lived there. I was there for months and months and months.
She stuck to her story that she was not there. She was not there. She had nothing to do with this killing, even when faced with the evidence.
But did Jodi know just how much evidence the police had against her?
I know you took pictures of him in the shower just before he died.
I don't think he would allow that.
And the camera actually took a couple of photos by accident. during the time he was being killed.
Really?
Jodi appeared surprised, but the fact that the investigators had all but caught her in the act still wasn't enough to end her denials.
I did not hurt Travis. I wouldn't do that to him.
It was mind-boggling that she would say she wasn't involved with it.
In the end, it didn't matter. That night, after several grueling hours of interrogation failed to produce a confession, the investigators booked Jodi on murder charges.
She actually asked the detective if she could primp and fix herself up before her mugshot is taken.
She knew her face was going to be plastered for the world to see, so she might as well put up a good appearance.
And looking good for the camera may not have been her only motivation.
When Jodi was charged with Travis's murder, we were worried that she would be able to flirt her way out of this or talk her way out of this or, make people feel sorry for her.
Travis's friends may have been right to worry, because after spending the night in jail, Jodi contacted the investigators and requested another interview. And this time, she appeared far less defiant.
I can tell you everything that I know.
She still wasn't claiming responsibility for the crime, however. Instead, she told the investigators she had witnessed the murder.
All of a sudden, the story changes. Now Jodi says she was there.
And in Jodi's new story, 2 intruders had killed Travis.
She said it was these 2 ninjas, or these 2 masked people.
They broke into the home, took her and Travis pretty much hostage.
Did they say why they were there?
No. But it was obvious they were there for him.
Jodi claimed that after killing Travis, the masked intruders contemplated killing her, too.
They debated back and forth, live or die.
But in the end, according to Jodi, the leader of the duo had decided to let her go.
He said, you need to leave. And don't you call anybody. And don't you say anything. And don't you act like anything happened. He's all, I'm giving you one chance.
And you just left. You didn't run to the neighbors. You didn't try to call him. You knew they were in his house. You had time to run to the neighbor. Why didn't you do that?
I was really scared. I was really freaked out of my mind.
According to Jodi, she had been so freaked out that she had waited more than a month to tell the investigators the truth out of fear for her own safety.
She says one of them said, "Oh, you're the one from California," as though they knew something about her.
They got my address, and they know where my family is.
That was what Jodi claimed. But by the time she finished spinning her tale of the 2 mysterious intruders who left no trace, the investigators were convinced that they knew something about Jodi, too, that she was a liar.
That these people would break into the house, kill Travis, and leave this witness there. It was just unbelievable to detectives.
But I came in here hoping that you would tell me the truth. And this is not the truth, Jodi.
Coming up, Jodi's arrest catapults the pretty 28-year-old into the national spotlight.
There was this amazing interest in this case.
There's religion, there's sex, there's lies.
It turns into a TV event.
On July 16, 2008, Jodi Arias had just spent several grueling hours in a police interrogation room, giving what she claimed was the real story behind Travis Alexander's brutal murder.
She comes up with the story that 2 masked, armed intruders barged into the house and immediately began stabbing Travis.
Unfortunately for Jodi, the investigators didn't believe a word of it.
They left you alive, let you go. That never happens. Why would anybody do that?
The authorities didn't have any intention of letting Jodi go either. Charged with first-degree murder and held without bail, she was extradited back to Arizona, where the national press was already converging, thanks to the savage nature of Travis's murder.
You already had a very sensational crime. You already had TV that was really interested in the story.
Jodi knew this would be a big story at the time of her arrest.
And once in Arizona, the woman who had primped for her mugshot proved she would go to any length to get in front of the story and the cameras.
She held a press conference with the local media and some national outlets.
And that was only the beginning. Over the next 3 months, Jodi went from accused murderer to national celebrity.
She's doing interviews with 48 Hours, Inside Edition, major networks.
There was this amazing interest in this case, not just locally, but all over the place.
She couldn't give the media enough interviews.
And the audiences couldn't get enough of the pretty 28-year-old's story.
It's got a lot of layers to it. There's a woman who brutally killed her boyfriend. There's religion, there's sex, there's lies.
So now all of a sudden it turns into a TV event.
And the interest in the case was about to rise even higher. On October 31st, the Maricopa County District Attorney's Office announced that they would be seeking the death penalty.
In this case, the manner of death, the gratuitous violence, the multiple injuries to Travis Alexander, that was the factor that made this death eligible.
It was a decision that Travis's friends and family welcomed.
They believed Jodi Arias was the most cold-blooded, calculated type of killer around.
But they also worried whether a jury would agree, especially when the accused was such an accomplished and attractive liar.
It only takes one person that she can trick into feeling sympathy for her, into believing her lies.
On part 2 of the Jodi Arias Snapped special event, Jodi's trial brings shocking new allegations against her.
She had just almost cut Travis Alexander's head off, and she's humping Ryan Burns hours later.
She delivers a stunning new account of Travis's death.
He body slammed me again on the tile.
And floors the courtroom with an accusation so shocking.
Music. Noelle Pett would leave for work every day with 2 lunches in hand, one for herself and one for a child who was in need. Noelle had been teaching at the St. Matthew's Catholic School for a few months, and she quickly noticed just how many children were in desperate need of help, both financially and emotionally. While it wasn't part of her job description to do so, Noelle went out of her way to help every one of her students as best as she could. The children loved her for it, and she was a favorite teacher for many of the kids. Noelle was on a path to make a tremendous difference in the lives of children who attended St. Matthew's, but her plans were tragically cut short on a cold winter evening in 2013. Detectives say that Noelle was heading home from a New Year's celebration. She was ambushed by 2 criminals with a hauntingly demented plan for the evening. Investigators believed that Noelle was grabbed before she ever even knew what was going on, and within minutes her life was over. Police honed in on 2 primary suspects. But believe me when I say they are no one that any member of the investigative team would have ever. Music suspected Noelle Pett was just 27 years old. In 2013, she'd been living in Courtrai, Ontario for a while, settling down and finding a job as a sub-school teacher at St. Matthew's Catholic School. There isn't a whole lot of information available about this school online, but I was able to learn that an incredibly large portion of their students are considered to be living in poverty or, at a minimum, in low-income households. To make matters worse, only between 50 and 70% of the students are considered to have passing grades. It's clear that many of these students are in desperate need of help, and Noelle wasted no time in jumping into action. Noelle was hired at St. Matthew's after another teacher requested time off for maternity leave, meaning Noelle would be in charge of this teacher's classroom for several months. Noelle was known for having a very unique philosophy for teaching. She didn't just want the children to excel in life, she wanted them to be so-called smash hits, a term she coined to describe the level of success that she vowed to help her children achieve, not just in school but all throughout their lives. As soon as Noelle began working for the school, she noticed that there was a much larger problem plaguing these students than simply their less than ideal grades. It didn't matter that over 60% of students were failing math, because nearly 50% of these students' families didn't have enough money to buy proper clothing or food. A shockingly large number of these kids didn't even wear shoes to school, and an even larger number didn't own warm coats for the winter. Noelle wanted to help these students in any way that she could, so she and her mother teamed up to begin buying as much clothing and food for these children as they possibly could. Noelle's mother says that this became a regular occurrence for them, and they would often travel out into town to SCR up as many of life's essentials as they could find, providing them to the students who needed them most. One of Noelle's closest friends, Kyle, says that this is just the type of person that Noelle was. He says that there was no better profession for Noelle, and she was meant to be a teacher and a guardian for these students. You know, it's often the case that after someone passes away, we only recall the good things about them, and we cover up the bad. But in Noelle's case, she truly was a great person. She cared in a way that is so rare these days, and her character is something that should be celebrated. But Noelle's passion, her drive, and her dedication to her students would meet its end long before her journey should have been over. There are still countless students who truly needed her, but their pleas would go unanswered after one cold winter night in January of 2013. I want to let you guys know about P, an amazing VPN service that you can use on any smartphone, and also the sponsor of today's video if you're an active internet user. And since you're watching this video, you need to know one thing: everything you do on the internet can be seen by someone else, whether you realize it or not. Using the internet without PIA is like having Facebook post your diary. Your friends and family can all read your secrets. PIA, short for private internet access, uses a virtual private network or a VPN to hide your IP address from would-be hackers, scammers, and other elusive people, and it helps to safeguard your internet connection using an encrypted tunnel. If you're like me, or probably using Wi-Fi when you're in public places like the supermarket, coffee shop, or even an airport. When you do this, any hackers that may be connected to that same network can see everything you do, everything. But with PIA, that will no longer be true. You can even use PIA to grant you access to region-restricted content from all over the world, including hidden content on BBC, Prime Video, Netflix, Hulu, and so much more. One of my favorite reasons for using PIA is to access region-restricted content on Netflix, such movies like The Godfather or Shawshank Redemption, which you can access by switching your location to Germany. One of my favorite things about P is that you can use just one subscription to protect all of your devices, including your computer, phone, tablet, everything. P is the world's most transparent VPN provider, hiding your IP address and encrypting your internet connection, all while giving you access to heaps of content that may have otherwise been hidden from you. Join PIA using my link below to get 83% off your subscription. That's just $2.03 per month. Better yet, P is even throwing in an additional 4 months of protection, absolutely free if you sign up using my custom link. Just go to PNC/RCrimStories to get 83% off your subscription, then get 4 additional months completely free. Thanks to P for sponsoring today's video. It was just after 2 a.m. on New Year's Day of 2013. Noelle had been attending a New Year's Eve celebration with her boyfriend, something they'd both been looking forward to for quite some time. The party was going relatively well, but at around 2 a.m., Noelle and her boyfriend got into a disagreement. We don't know what prompted this argument, but Noelle felt that things had escalated enough that it would be best if she just left for the evening and headed home. One of Noelle's friends tried her best to stop her, but when Noelle insisted on leaving, the friend decided to leave alongside her. The two walked together for several blocks, but eventually they went their separate ways. The party had been taking place in Sarnia, but Noelle had recently moved to Kortrijk, just south of Sarnia. She purchased a house here a short while back, and regardless of how long the walk was, Noelle was adamant that she was going to take the long trek back to her home, even though it was quite cold out and in the dead of the night. Noelle and her friends were spotted on several CCTV cameras in the area, but before long they had wandered out of view and were on their own. Throughout her walk home, Noelle texted her boyfriend several times. It seems that whatever had happened at the party, Noelle was incredibly upset. She was spotted by several witnesses as she wandered through the streets, sobbing about what had taken place. Her boyfriend has never spoken up about what transpired that evening, but whatever it was, Noelle was devastated. This brings us to around 2:30 a.m. Only about 30 minutes after Noelle had left the party, as she was still within the boundaries of Sarnia, a few witnesses reported seeing a man walking behind her. Considering it was so dark, descriptions of this man were less than helpful, but it seems as though witnesses recalled him following her for quite some time. Within minutes of these witness sightings, Noelle's cell phone activity suddenly stopped. She never responded to her boyfriend's texts After this, and all of her calls went unanswered, investigators used witness statements to piece together what transpired after this, and they determined that a white Pontiac Grand Prix pulled up alongside Noelle as she was heading home that evening or early morning. At this point, the car was driven by a woman in her early 30s. We don't know what the woman said to Noelle, but after a brief discussion, Noelle seems to have agreed to get inside the car as soon as she entered. The car switched into reverse and backed up down the street, picking up the man that had been walking behind Noelle all this time. The moment he entered the car, they sped away into the music night about an hour and a half after Noelle had been picked up by the two unidentified strangers. 2 Ontario police officers have been patrolling the area. This was around 4:00 a.m. On New Year's Day. As they were patrolling the outskirts of Sarnia, they came across a white Pontiac Grand Prix that had broken down on the side of the road. When officers approached the car, a female stepped out of the driver's seat. She was crying and had blood on her face and hands, pleading with officers to help her, as her boyfriend had just accidentally cut himself in the passenger seat, and she wasn't able to help it. Paramedics were called to the scene immediately. One of the paramedics helped out the passenger, treating his injuries and making sure that he was stable before taking him to the local hospital. The occupants of the car were then revealed to be Tanya Bogdanovich, age 32, and Michael Mker, age 22, when investigators asked what had taken place leading up to Michael's injury. Tanya revealed some pretty interesting details about the two. She said that the two were heading out into the forest to engage in what she called knife play. She explained that this was some sort of risky sexual adventure that they were planning on acting out, but that their car had broken down on the way to the woods, so instead they decided to act out their fantasy in the car. But things went downhill very quickly. When Michael accidentally got cut on his hand, it would later come to light that Tanya's relationship with Michael wasn't even public knowledge. The two had been having an affair behind Tanya's boyfriend's back, somehow, despite the large amount of time she spent away from home with Michael. Her boyfriend was none the wiser. When the two were taken to the hospital, Michael was taken into a room for treatment while Tanya was asked to wait outside of the room. All the while, she was seen with her face pressed against the glass of the observation room, pacing back and forth in the hallway. Several of the staff members believed that she was Michael's mother, but they would soon learn the reality of their relationship. The two never really described themselves as dating. Instead, they merely referred to each other as a best friend or a friend with benefits. Turns out the two had only known each other for a few months after they met through a website that connects individuals with certain interests. See, Tanya and Michael had rather dark histories of sexual fantasies. I'm not going to get into the specifics of their situation, but they were both interested in very violent activities, and the website that they met on specifically catered to people with these interests. But the problem is their fantasies weren't just violent, they were full-on dangerous, hence how Michael ended up in the hospital while they were in the treatment room after Michael had been patched up. Nurses and doctors were called, seeing the two lying down on stretchers, staring at each other with their hands pressed over their faces, giggling and laughing. It seems that everyone in the emergency room thought that the two were very odd, but they never did anything wrong or illegal, so everyone just let them be. But then news broke that police had just uncovered a body that had been dumped in the woods about 25 kilometers away from the hospital. This is the moment that everyone's mood suddenly changed. The female victim had been subjected to a night of heartbreaking terror, and it was clear that this was not the work of an ordinary person. Whoever had done this to her took pride in their work, and it seemed as though they may have even enjoyed it. It didn't take long before the victim was identified as Noelle Pett. As investigators showed up to the scene of the crime, they were taken aback by what had transpired. As detectives gathered up evidence and information from the scene, they quickly learned that the victim had been jabbed at least 49 times. She'd also been taken advantage of. A coroner revealed that the victim was alive during each and every one of the injuries. She would have lived through all of them, but she likely would have passed away quite quickly after that final strike was dealt. Whoever had done this to her, they were calculated. They wanted her to survive until that final blow. Police spoke with witnesses in the area, but no one had seen much of anything outside of mentioning that they had seen a woman matching Noelle's description walking alone around 2 a.m. But as police gathered up more and more witness statements, they came across the aforementioned witnesses who were called seeing a white car that morning. Around that same time Tanya and Michael were released from the hospital, their car was towed to a nearby compound where it was revealed that The engine had run out of oil, explaining why they'd broken down so unexpectedly after the two had left the hospital. They made plans to head to the compound lot that afternoon to pick up the car for repairs, but at some point during the day, Michael learned that the injury to his hand was going to require surgery, so the following day, he was asked to return to the hospital for an operation. Police had noticed how strange both Tanya and Michael were acting when they were taken to the hospital earlier that day, but investigators assumed that they were simply strange people, so they didn't think much else about it. But as witness reports of a white car that was spotted around the time of Noelle's disappearance began to pour and detectives began to wonder if there was more to this story than meets the eye, it seems that police were hot on the trail of both Tanya and Michael long before they knew that they were even being suspected in Noelle's disappearance. As mentioned, the two had planned to pick up their car from the compound later that afternoon, but police were quick to react, and they asked the tow driver to hold on to the vehicle and not give it back to the couple until they had time to search it. First, the tow driver agreed and held on to the car. We're not sure what the two were told when they arrived to pick up the car later on, but the tow driver did manage to ward them off while police conducted an investigation. When police searched the vehicle, they found that it was covered in red stains. To make matters worse, they even found a knife on the floorboard on the driver's side of the car. The knife appeared to have been cleaned off since the incident, but considering the state of the rest of the car, this did little to help. It seems that Tanya and Michael explained this discovery away as being related to Michael's hand injury, but the police weren't so sure. This is around the time that the most concerning witness report of all was submitted to officers. Not only had a white sedan been seen in the area that morning, but a witness proclaimed to have seen the driver of the car pick up Noelle. But that wasn't all. The witness also reported seeing Michael get into that same vehicle after Tanya had reversed to pick him up. At this point, police knew that there was much more to the story than Tanya and Michael were letting on, but the problem was they needed to establish a motive. Otherwise, all three of these people may have just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Without a motive, the case was sure to be kicked out of court. This led officers much deeper down a rabbit hole than they could have ever anticipated. When detectives really began to dig into the past of both Tanya and Michael, they quickly realized just how bizarre the relationship really was. The things these two were involved in were just plain weird. The two are big fans of the TV series Archer, so much so that Michael actually went by the name Archer and Tanya went by the name Kane. Referencing two of the lead characters from the series, anytime Tanya referred to Michael, she would always address him as Archer, but everyone is pet names for people that they're close with. That's not terribly unusual. What makes these two so strange is just how far they were willing to go to satisfy their sexual desires, even if it meant hurting other people. The two met as a result of their dark fantasies, but what really helped them bond was how they each had a desire to end the life of a woman. Police were able to uncover texts that had been sent between the two that documented how they both longed to end the life of a female by taking advantage of her, then using a knife to finish the job. But this wasn't just some demented, hateful desire. The two wanted to do it for sexual gratification. Detectives revealed that they also found text messages that proves that the two had lined up a victim for that evening, but for one reason or another things fell apart, and the victim never showed. This was the information investigators needed to secure a conviction. They'd finally tracked down a motive, at least for the most part, but they still needed to identify why the two had chosen Noelle specifically. That same day, officers issued a warrant for the arrest of both Tanya and Michael. By this point, Michael had already returned to the hospital to have the procedure performed on his hand. Tanya was patiently waiting inside the hospital to hear about Michael's recovery. As she left the hospital later that day, she was arrested in the parking lot and taken in for questioning. Michael was released a few hours later and picked up outside of a hotel. When police got the two into interrogation rooms, all the pieces started to fit together perfectly. The two confirmed their relationship with one another and the violent sexual desires that they shared. Once they knew that they had nowhere to run, they even opened up about their intention to claim the life of an innocent woman that night, but they both insisted that Noelle was not their initial target. As more of the story was pieced together, detectives learned that they merely chose to attack Noelle because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Her attack was completely random. After their initial victim was a no-show, the two were strolling the streets in their car when they happened to pass by Noelle. When They saw her Tanya turn the car around and dropped Michael off a short distance behind Noelle. He stalked her while Tanya jumped back into action. Eventually convincing Noelle to get into the car with her, that's when she reversed and picked up Michael, driving Noelle over 20 kilometers away into the woods to carry out their fantasy. Noelle had made significant efforts to fight back, but she just couldn't do it. Tanya and Michael were both handed mandatory life sentences for their crimes, but this did little to calm the minds of Noelle's family. Impact statements were read by all of those who knew Noelle, and despite their thoughtless crimes against an innocent woman, it seems as though Tanya and Michael may have actually realized the brevity of the situation. Both Tanya and Michael apologized profusely to Noelle's family and friends, though they admitted that their apologies likely meant nothing compared to the nightmare that the family was living through. Michael addressed his own family, admitting that he had let them down and shamed them. Tanya expressed her regret at not confessing to the crime sooner, but their words may as well have fallen on deaf ears, because words can't change things, only actions can. In the wake of this tragedy, Noelle's family worked together to establish a charity known as Noelle's Gift. Her family recognized just how far Noelle was willing to go to help out students at St. Matthew's Catholic School, and with this in mind, they made it their life's goal to help Noelle's memory stay alive and to continue helping the students that she loved so dearly. The charity was established as a way to raise funds for children who come from poverty-stricken homes and may not have adequate food, clothing, or life essentials. So far, the charity has been an incredible success, and so many children have had their lives changed forever in Noelle's memory. In 2022 alone, the charity managed to bring in over $158,000 for children in need. In 2023, they gathered more than $188,000 for these children, with teachers at St. Matthew's School having direct access to this money to make sure that every single child gets the help they need, and these funds offer enough assistance to help out a minimum of 940 children. Noelle's final moments on this planet were marred by a heartless, callous crime, but in the wake of her absence, Noelle's family has proven that they will stop at nothing to ensure that her kindness, her compassion, and her genuine love for her children will never ever be forgotten. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of True Crime Stories. If you want to see more true crime documentaries like this, be sure to subscribe. It's completely free and keeps you up to date with every new case I cover. If you'd like to help support the channel, the best way you can do that is simply by leaving a comment below. Any comment at all, it helps out the channel a lot more than you may realize. If you love the channel and you want to see new episodes several days early, you can do that by clicking the join button below, and you can even pick up a True Crime Stories mug like the one you see on the desk behind me from Thoughts Calm But With That. My name is Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Music.